Okay, so good morning, everyone. I can see that everyone already here. Oh no, still there's someone still. Okay, Mira already. So I hope every one of you here are aware that we will having our presentations in these sessions. Because I already remind during our lecture class. Yeah, okay, good, Elvin. And then I just remind you 10 minutes before this class lah. Okay, good. Okay, so if anybody of you here still haven't wear formal or casual attire, please make sure at least you have a shirt that have a collar lah. Okay. Mm, yeah. Silent my phone first. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Elvin.
Okay, just
That
test
was.
my audio.
Okay. Ngam. You all can test your audio. Yeah, because we only have 3 group, and I think we will not use up all the 2 hours lah. So maybe after this you still have time to do your part 3, because on week 10 actually you all should already started the part 3, which is the architectural design. Yeah. Okay, so if we can finish the presentation earlier, then okay lah. Yeah, so which group wanna present first? No? Okay, so it's okay. I will assign. But before that, we record the meeting first lah. Okay. Group Russell first. Russell, after that Noel, baru Celine. Yeah. Your group is the lucky one. Have to wait. Why? Last group. Oh, Yeah. Wong. Hi, good morning, Wong. So today you all will present three parts, which is the functional, the Gantt chart, the functional and non-functional requirement, and then lastly the viewpoint. So while the other group is presenting, the group that are not presenting, you all can listen, and then the presentations may be beneficial for you because maybe you forgot some important thing, and then what I commented during the presentations may be beneficial for you too. Mm. Okay, so
This the on it is one camera.
pardon?
Camera.
Camera, yeah. Why, do you have any problem?
No.
Hmm.
Uh, Good morning, Miss, and all my classmates. Today,
Hmm.
it's Miss Recording.
Pardon?
It's Miss Recording.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today we'll be presenting our part two for software engineering, and our system is a SMK log student portal. We will start by presenting the project planning schedule, and this is our screen capture from Microsoft Project. You see that these all the tasks and their costs, their resource names, their start and finish dates, their durations, all those. And this is the screen
Uh,
capture. Hmm?
can you please speak louder because your voice, I think I cannot hear it clearly.
Um, Miss Amy.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a screen capture from our Microsoft project.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you can see the tasks, the durations, the start and finish dates. Um, you can see the resources that are involved and the project costs.
Mm.
And then here is the screen capture for Gantt chart. and
Okay.
we will start explaining the task and stuff.
Okay, so wait first. So I want you, when you explaining the Gantt chart, I want you explaining it. What software process model that you are using. For example, you, if I'm not mistaken, you are using RAD, and then how that RAD can be pictured in your Gantt chart.
Uh, yes, okay. So we are using the RAD software process model, uh,
Mm.
RAD model, and in this Gantt chart, because we can't capture everything if the modules are expanded. Here you can see that at line 3 until line 14 is one module, and line 15 until 51 are are collapsed modules. So all these modules happen uh, occur at the same time.
Okay, okay. So,
Yeah.
is the same team will do the all of the module, or different team?
One team for each module.
Okay, okay. Proceed. Proceed.
Um, um, Someone that's supposed to.
Oh,
Can you hear me? So this is our task, and now I will talk about the task and task dependencies. And we will start with our project initiation
mm-hmm.
and reaching of the owner and the project manager. Then it'll be followed by um it'll followed by the 5 modules. And after all the 5 modules are done, there'll be module integration, followed by system testing, and then we will start to deploy the system, where we will deploy and have some maintenance, followed by some support, and then we have a close meeting where we have system feedback.
Okay.
And for each module, for each module, we will be doing these 6 tasks, where we begin with requirement gathering in the communication phase.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll have some estimation scheduling to create a proposal. Once uh, when during the planning phase, and once the proposal is approved,
Mm-hmm.
um, the project is approved, then we can start with system modeling, where there'll be an analysis on system, where system analysis will be conducted, followed by system design. Then after all this done, we can start coding, and after all the coding is done, there'll be a testing phase where each test is involved, and turnover.
The turnover. Can you please explain about the turnover, because this is the turnover for each of the modules, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what did you do during the turnover for each of the module?
For the turnover, will be starting the integration.
Mm-hmm.
So it will continue over to the next task.
Okay. So during the turnover, you will start to do the integration for each of the modules, lah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If after it's over, we'll continue on to module integration.
Okay.
In task 3 here.
Mm.
Yeah. So for the task duration,
Mm-hmm.
so the task duration we have like 6 in the task. So like each task has a representation of the days, durations per
Mm-hmm.
days. So for modules, all of the modules will takes like 60 days to complete, and then the module integration will take like 5 days since we separated it to like each of the team. So it will take like 5 days lah. And then for the system testing we will take for 10 days because of like we need to get like the system checked properly, and I think it will take more times lah for to check all the system to get more feedback from the client.
Okay.
And then for the system deployment and maintenance plus the system support, this I think we could take like 15 days lah. Yeah, roughly around 15 days, because
Okay.
yeah, in another extra days for the system support and the maintenance part. So lastly will be the close meeting lah, the system feedback, which is for any kind of feedback like what can be improved, what can be we can add for future system lah. Yeah. So
Okay.
total will be
So
90 days. Yes.
Farah, we already learned about system testing, right?
Mm.
So, in your phase of system testing, your group is the system testing.
Mm.
What type of what technique or yeah, what type or level lah level? Either it is unit testing ka, or system testing or acceptance testing, UAT testing. So, which technique or which testing technique that you all will implement during this system testing?
Oh,
Because this testing is involving the end user, right? So what kind of system testing that will involve that it will involving end user? The other groups, the other member of the groups can help.
We can do stress testing for the
Stress testing.
in case too much.
Yes, so I think there's one testing that is really important before you go to system deployment, and then it is involving end user. So what type of that testing? What
User,
testing
u-
technique?
usability,
No,
usability testing,
no,
reliability.
no,
should it be like performance of the system?
no. Okay, so actually, if you all remember, in system testing, there are five level or stages, starting with the unit testing, and then after that module testing, after that
Subsystem.
subsystem testing, and then after that system, lastly acceptance testing or UAT. So which from that five level or stages of the system testing, which testing that that you will implement it during this system testing stage?
Um, System testing.
System testing. Okay, but system testing usually up until all of the developer lah, because after you integrate module integrations, then you will need to test all of the you will need to test the system, but it is doesn't involving end user. So among that five, which is actually involving user? Because actually you cannot deploy the system without it tested by the end user.
Alpha test and beta test count.
Pardon? Alpha test
Alpha.
and beta test?
Yeah.
No, just choose from that five level or stages.
Acceptance testing.
Yeah. So UAT is user acceptance testing. Okay, so meaning that there's a user words there, right? So it is explaining who is doing the testing. So it is the end user. It is involving the end user. That is what happened during user acceptance testing. So after we all getting the approval from the end user that our system is working perfectly according to the test case, then baru we all can deploy the system to their server. So during the system testing, you can describe in your report letter, you will say that during this testing, we will implement the UAT or acceptance testing lah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so and the system deployment kan, the system deployment, it can take a shorter days, for example 5 days, but your system support usually it will took longer time. It is not only up until 15 days or whatsoever lah, because during the system maintenance, we will let the user use that system and then they can get back to us whenever they have found new error or bug. So within, if you just allocate about 15 days, it is not enough for them lah. So usually during the system support, the it is actually depending on the size of the system also lah. But usually it will take either 1 year or 2 years lah. But of course lah, in your Gantt chart, you of course you cannot show all of that apparat, can, but you just show lah. It is take up until maybe 2 years, 2 years or 1 year lah, because based on your system is Lokyuk school, right? So Lokyuk school, I think 1 or 2 years is enough lah for the system support. Deployment only take about 5 days like that lah, or 10 days at most, because it is only the process of you transforming or transferring all of your code to the server. Okay, so yeah, so make your system support longer,
So close,
until 2 years like that.
does close meeting occur only after the system support?
No. I mean, the close meeting you can have after the
Deployment.
deployment. But the system support, still you can put it, I think the system deployment is, I think you better put system maintenance. And then after that, under that system maintenance, there will be a sub, which is system deployment, which takes 5 days like that. And then after that, system support, which will take about 2 years like that lah. Then after that, close meeting. So you can have the close meeting after the it's still the same level with the system maintenance, but you can say that it is just after the system deployment lah.
Oh,
Because your Gantt chart can it doesn't need to be really after 2 years baru you start your close meeting. No. It can be started after the system deployment, but the process can still ongoing for the system support. Okay, understand?
Okay, miss.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so proceed, yeah.
So, hello, can you guys hear?
Hey, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so as you can see in the next slide, this is the modules duration. And so
Mhm.
as for communication, which will be requirement gathering, it will take 5 days. And after that will be system planning. And in the system planning, there will be a system proposal. And the estimation of the scheduling will take around 5 days. As for the project approval, it will be 0 days. So like after the system planning, right? Like let's say it's on the 5th day, we just need project approval from the owner, which is the principal of Lokio. And for the next one, it will be system modeling. So from here, right, the system analyst and the system design. For system analyst, they will take like 5 days to like analyze everything of the system, and the system design will take around 15 days. And then for the next one, which will be coding, it will take 20 days. And for the last one will be testing and turnover, which will take 10 days. So overall of the duration for the modules would be 60 days
Okay, so you said just now the project approval will need the approval from who?
from the owner. Eh?
From the client.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think for this project approval, because this is for each of the modules, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that one is not, you are not getting approval from the client, but actually it is getting approval from the project manager. Okay. So because this is actually the technical part, because client usually they will not involving in approving the technical part like this. Okay, so because you are doing the system already, and then um yeah, so it is actually the responsibility of the project manager. Okay, so the project approval here is not approved by the client but by the project manager.
Okay.
Yeah, so because you are, because during this project approval you will present to them your proposal on how you will implement or do the coding or all of the technical part, right? During this part is you are giving your planning on how to do that system, right? And then usually that will not be um, known by the end user because they are not a technical from the technical part. So the one that approve each of the module on how you do it, how you plan it, it is the project manager. Because what we will show to the client that we only will show them that this system will have these modules, and these modules can do what. They will not know on how to do it, Okay, so the how will be approved by the project manager. The client will only know what the system doing what, but they will not know the how. Okay, so in each of these modules, it is explaining how the you all will do or implement each of the modules. So it will be your project manager. Okay, so you
Uh,
need to explain that in your report lah. Yes, Russell?
so the project manager reads the proposal and then he approves it.
Yes. Usually it will be the process.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll move on.
Yeah.
Hello, Miss, can you hear me?
A bit
Hello,
soft.
hello, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So I'll be presenting about the resource allocation. So the total allocation is 1,600. So I mean 106,000
It's
and
quite
700.
a lot lah for a school, right? But this is just our para. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll proceed. So the first resource will be the project manager, and its rate is 50 ringgit. So the project
50
manager is
ringgit per what?
per
Hour.
hour.
Per hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
So uh the resource, I mean the project manager is more higher. The rate is more higher compared to the rest is because it takes a lot of responsibility to handle the project, like making sure all the staff is doing okay and like have to constantly update. So it takes a lot of responsibility, so it's more higher lah the rate. And the second one is the developer team. So the developer team, they are divided into five developer, which is like the each developer for one, each team for one module lor. And is cost 20 ringgit and 50 cents per hour.
Per
And
developer.
yeah,
Yes.
Per
per
developer.
developer.
So how many developer for each module?
One.
One. One developer, one module. Okay.
Hmm, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So followed by the tester. So they usually test the system before being turned over lah. Before being before being shared to the public lah. Yeah,
Mm.
and the next is the analysis team. So the analysis team cost 38 ringgit per rate, which they do the analysis for like those what model should be used and what to find what the system is required at that. And followed by is the owner and SMK login administrative staff and the student representative. So this one they usually we don't really touch them because they are part of our client. So
Mm.
they are just part of like they are usually the end user lor. They test like after the
Mm.
system being implemented. Yeah,
Okay. Yes, correct.
yeah.
Okay, so I don't have a problem with your red lah. Okay. So proceed.
Okay.
Okay. So now we'll talk about the second part, which is system requirements.
Mm-hmm.
We have five system modules in total, starting with the news and announcement, the reports and results, the attendance, timetable, and the profile and login module. So for the news and announcement module, we have the functional requirements include that the users can view the latest news and announcements. They can search the news announcement by name, content, or date. So the users are like the students, the parents, teachers, and anyone can access the news and announcements module. Um, and then the administrative staff, they can post, modify, and delete certain news and announcements. As for the non-functional requirements, I think starting with the total requirements.
Wait, Russell. Who will
Mhm.
do the who will post the announcement? Can you please get that? User can
The
view
administrative staff, which includes like
or
teachers,
post, modify, delete.
secretaries, those.
Okay, okay.
Right. So now talk about the non-functional requirements. So we start with product requirements. So the newly posted news and announcements must be available for all users to view within no more than 30 seconds after posting. So it should be quick lah. So, certain news can be urgent or important. Then the news announcements must be easily accessible by all the users of the system without the need of authorization and or authentication as mentioned before. So it's public.
Mm.
And as for organizational requirements, as part of rules to archive news and announcements to become old will be moved to the archives for historical documentation purposes.
Okay, so this one I think good because you this is really I mean it's original organizational requirement. Okay, good.
Okay, and then our external requirements include that you must have the news and announcements must have an approval function. So another administrative staff has to approve the news or announcement before posting.
But I think another administrative stuff, I think you may need to really put the positions of that administrative stuff. Maybe you may said
It's not really a position problem. It's more of a like a two-factor thing. Like maybe someone can breach into the system and post something, but it won't happen because they need another actual like teacher or IT staff to approve the news and announcement.
okay, so IT stuff lah, right? You
Not
said that,
not
for
not,
example,
necess-
the
not necessarily IT staff. I mean another official SMK Logyo staff. It just means it
mm,
needs two people to
yeah,
make sure.
you just said that actually for posting announcement there must be the verification also lah, right? And it must be done by two person, which is the first is the one that posted that announcement, and then after that it must be approved by someone. But that someone we need to really clear, and then we need to really put
Okay.
that here actually. Yes.
The secretary.
So secretary maybe, yes. Okay, so maybe yang the first one maybe the clerk. Okay, so the second one maybe the ataupun the head of the administrative staff.
Or the head of the because the
Administrative.
administrative staff includes the teachers.
Because later actually when you give this requirement to the user, there will be macam apa? There will everyone will not take responsibility to, because they will you lah approve. So if it is not fixed, it will be
Okay.
hard later.
So MBC is approved by the secretary.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I will be presenting the reports and result module, functional requirement and non-functional requirement. The functional requirements may allow the student to view their own examination and COCO results. They also can view summary all their exam and COCO results during their study in the SNG Logio. And then the staff can also view the results of every student, can check the summary results, can add, delete, or edit the results and their summary of reports of the students for the functional requirements. And then next.
Wait, okay, so can I ask you what made the attribute that will be included in the summary report? The attribute meaning what are the data that should be in the summary reports?
The average scores for all their combined uh, exams and COCO results and also maybe their attendance
Okay. So yeah, that is relevant lah in the summary report. But I think attendance will it's not lah because
No need. Yeah.
uh yeah, attendance will have another summary for attendance lah. Okay. So yeah, proceed.
This non-functional report requirements. First, the product requirement. The information, the result must be easily understood by the user, and the result must be accurate. The report result also need to be loaded in less than 10 seconds, like that. And then
Okay.
organizational requirements. All the results and reports must be saved for future use or unforeseen circumstances, like archive.
Mm-mm.
And then the external requirements, all the data must be secured properly and will not be should not allow unauthorized user to maliciously falsify the reports and results.
Okay. Okay, good. Proceed.
So I'll be talking about the attendance module function requirements.
Okay.
The students of SMK LogU can view their daily and overall attendance performance. So it's like our TaiUC app lah. They can view uh their overall performance and that. And secondly is the students of SMK LogU can apply for leave online by entering the following required fields, which is the date of leave and like reasons of why you want to take reasons of application of leave. And the third one is like the relevant documents like those MC letter like those screenshot and that. And then the
But
third
put
one,
that letter, all of the
oh,
attribute for the required fields, you can put that in B lah, functional
okay,
requirement B.
okay, all right. Then followed by the administrative staff of SMK Logio can view and modify students' attendance. They can view like the students' leave lah, like they just send like that. And then next is admin staff can view students' leave application. Yeah. And the last one is the admin staff can search for a specific student's attendance record lah.
But I think there must be someone must that must approve that leave, right?
Oh yeah,
So yeah, so I
actually
think
uh,
Yeah, you can put view and modify. I think view and approve lah, not modify.
okay, okay, I'll change
Okay.
that later lah.
Mm-mm.
Okay,
Proceed.
okay.
Okay, the attendance to modify the attendance means like to modify any like incorrect attendance.
Um, Incorrect attendance. Usually, if the attendance, if there's something that need to be changed, um, the administrative staff will ask the student because all the info is from the student, so we cannot like what TARUC did right now, right? Okay, so all of us will only can see your leave and then can view your supporting document. If there's something wrong, we will directly ask you. Okay, so if you need to modify something, then we ask you to modify that. Or the administrative staff didn't involved in the modifying because the info is all from the student. Okay, so yeah, so only approve lah usually, modify no lah. Because something that like for example maybe you said that the administrative staff maybe need to modify I mean, some of the compulsory info, for example, the name of the user, the student ID, it is usually already captured during the student login. So that kind of information no need to be modified or whatsoever lah by the administrative staff. But the only things that you will give during the applications is, if you remember during TARUC, when you apply leave for TARUC, you only need to set the day for your leave and then the supporting document, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Actually, Miss,
Pardon?
the modify is actually the student attendance or like if they apply the leave kan, they wanted to change the status, like the attendance like that. Like from change the status from absent to like leave application proof like that.
Oh, that one will not be done by the administrative. It will be automatically done by the system.
Oh, okay.
If if it's not online class, it's also like this guy.
Pardon, if not what?
If it's not online class,
If it is not online class,
This is a
yes.
physical class.
Yeah, but because you said the administrative staff need to modify the status of the leave of the student, so
No,
that
no,
is
no,
why
not
it
need.
needs to modify.
Not need. They can modify.
They can modify.
If
Usually, for the
something is wrong.
status, when it is approved, it is automatically the status of the student will be automatic lah. So yeah, even the physical class also. But the student, when they apply for the leave, they will use online, right? At
Yeah.
least unless if the administrative staff need to key in the I mean the attendance. But if
Yes.
the
like when
The attendance is keyed in.
like they get the attendance and then go back to put in the system like that.
The attendance is still done by paper. It's not like our attendance because we use phones. Because it's SMK, they can't bring phones to the school.
okay, so if like that, you will need to add new functional requirement here. For example, because in your B, you said that student SMK Locu can apply for leave online, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so maybe you need to add online and offline lah.
Uh,
You need to add offline also.
Yeah,
the
because
meaning like
Like,
yeah,
a later
because
day they apply for
yeah,
leave
yeah.
first.
Yeah, so because if I only read this, imagine I am just the end user lah, because we haven't do that, we haven't used that system, right? So if I read this, in my mind, I don't picture or I didn't imagine only any offline things. So
you
yeah,
cannot assume the school already have that system offline.
yeah.
Cannot assume you
So
already have that. So we really need to specify here.
So that's why you need to clearly specify in your functional requirements. Because for me, if I read it like this, so it is compulsory for the student to use the online without using any paper. So if you put that by online and offline, so you can put the administrative stuff to modify lah, or you need to add another F functional requirement where the administrative staff can uh, enter or key in
Okay, can key in
application.
offline leave
Yeah,
application.
yeah.
Yeah, we do that. Anything else? Yes.
Okay, so I think no lah. So it is clarified already lah, right? So you for the online, it only can view and approve. But for the offline application, then the administrative staff need to key in and modify lah, and view, key in, modify, and delete. Understand? Yeah, for the
Offline leave
offline
application.
applications. Yeah.
Okay.
For online, they also can view, key in, modify, and delete also lah kan.
Pardon? For online, they can?
View, key in, and modify and delete also kan.
Administrative staff should not able to key in lah, because it will be keyed in by the student.
Oh, okay.
But student can edit lah.
Okay.
Student can edit, but administrative staff only can view and approve.
Approve and edit now.
Pardon?
Approve a student's edit.
Yeah.
So moving on.
Okay, moving on is the non-functional requirement. So the product requirement
Mm.
is to allow admin staff to receive and review student leave application within at most like 5 minutes. And secondly is display accurate attendance records, like like all the attendance record are displayed like accurately lah. And followed by the
Okay.
organizational requirements is to generate report and statistics of a student's overall and daily attendance performance for documentation purposes. And
Okay.
lastly is the external requirement, which requires two administrative staff to modify the student's attendance records to prevent malicious users from modifying the data easily. So this one like it needs like two admin staff so that it wouldn't like, because like we don't want other teachers to simply edit like that lah. So it needs to go through like a department which can like approve their for a student application like that.
Okay, so can you please get back in your functional requirement? Teacher will, of course, will not um, authenticate to view the student leave, right? So because here you all memang put in all administrative stuff. So go back to your next slide. Okay, so your explanation just now, because it is to prevent that the teacher should cannot modify easily, right?
Mm.
Yeah, because actually that should not be the matter lah, because if that function is not authenticated for the authorized for the teacher, then the menu should not be in their interface, right?
Okay.
Because they are not involved in the attendance, only administrative lah. So during your explanations later, um, don't mention about the teacher lah, because memang surely they will not see the attendance punya module. But require two administrative staff. Um, how the two staff can prevent malicious user. Malicious user, you mean, is the somebody that are not authorized to use that module kan, the attendance module.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is your definition of the malicious user?
Unauthorized users.
Unauthorized user. So unauthorized user, usually, if because the user of this attendance system, what I can see from the previous, it is only student and administrative staff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so so the attendance module only can be viewed from the view of administrative staff and the student. um
Oh,
But can you all
the
explain how the two administrative staff can prevent the unauthorized user?
um maybe scratch that. Um, for the external requirements, can it be like um the system does not disclose any leave applications?
Disclose any leave applications.
Yeah,
And that,
because some like supporting documents are like um um medical and sensitive.
okay,
Maybe you
so
can do the same as the secretary approves for the attendance also.
yeah, so because we don't need, I mean, for the malicious user, the administrative staff will not be able to prevent, because because it is should be done by the system lah, because only the person that have the credential that can log in as admin and can log in as the staff. But the two administrative staff is can help to can work together to make sure that the attendance record is valid or not, or can be approved or not, because based on checking the dia punya
Oh, tag.
right.
Repeat again.
Miss, like just now.
Just
Oh,
now.
lagging. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the two administrative staff, they are you can use the two administrative staff to do the checking for the attendance record, either it is valid or not. Okay, but not to prevent the malicious user from modifying the data easily, because
To
because
verify and validate, no?
To
yeah.
verify the data.
Yeah, to verify the records, either it is correct or not, by because we need second person to check the supporting document, either it is correct or not, either the supporting document that is comply with the that the user applied for the leave, right? Okay, so that may need two administrative staff to do that, but to prevent the malicious user, I think administrative staff cannot do that. It is the responsibility of the system.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay.
Then move on.
Okay. I'll be presenting for the timetable module. So as for the timetable module, the functional requirements, as for the students, they can only view their own class, and also the other classes timetables, which is the other students lah, the other students punya timetable. So for B, the administrative staff, or which all of the administrative staff, they can view all the classes timetable, and they also can add like a new subject, new event, activities in the timetable lah. So like what happens in the school, like bazaar, like something like that. Yes. So for the for the D, the administrative staff can also modify the students' timetables, learning subjects, events, and activities, which is like something like if the students like have the what's the call, the drop courses or subject, they can like remove the students timetable, the certain subject lah yang they drop, something like that. Yeah. So next, oh yeah, that's a can modify and remove lah. That's the same thing. Yeah. And then the F will be the can schedule a replacement class, which is like if like has a new class, or they can like to change the different date, they can like add that date lah, like Saturday or someday, something like that.
Okay, so my questions is only for A. Okay, so is there any relevant reason why the student can view other student class or other class timetables? What do you mean by the other classes timetables? Other student timetables or other courses?
Other class.
Other class.
Other class, meaning if you are mentioning the when you mention their own class, meaning on class, like for example there are form
Like
5
different class, different years.
different class different years. So your definition of class here is, for example, lima dahlia,
Yeah.
lima delima, something like
Yes.
that lah.
Yeah.
Meaning the other their friends class lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there any relevancy why they should see their friends' class timetable?
No, it is accessible.
Because yeah,
Um, I think that is
Not
not
required lah.
yeah, not
not
required
required.
lah. So you can move that lah.
Okay.
Okay, so imagine if your friends, maybe they are stalker there, and then they see your timetable, and then they know what time they want to disturb you nah. Jadi cannot juga lah, right? So don't do the unnecessary lah if there's no relevancy.
So wait.
Okay, so proceed.
Um, Shadow. Oh, no electricity.
She has she look lah. He have unstable connection maybe.
AGC.
What is ADC?
Disconnect.
Oh,
Did he disconnect?
So maybe this part will represent Farrell since he's not here. Okay,
okay.
so for the non-functional requirement for the timetable module,
Mm,
the product requirements, the timetable must always display the latest timetable accurately. So like, let's say, like because there are like, how do you say this, seasons? There we go. Like maybe like summer. Let's say like in the scenario like this, like in the summer they will have this timetable, but then the next season they will change to a new timetable. So like they will change the timetable and update it accurately. And
okay.
like for P wise, the update it will update the timetable must not take more than 5 seconds to reflect the changes.
Okay.
So for the organizational requirements, the SMK Lockheed student portal timetable must follow the Lockheed scheduling system for time allocation.
Mm,
So like like for the year, no, not year, form 1 to form 5, sorry, form 1 to form 3, the, let's say like the rehat, right, the
mm,
rehat, all of their time
mm,
must be that specific time like that. And for the form 4 and form 5 will be the same but a different time lah.
mm,
Okay, so for the external requirements, the SMK Lockheed student portal timetable must be private and not be disclosed to unauthorized users. So in
mm.
this case, people who cannot log in to the SMK Lockheed student portal will not be allowed to see the timetable lah.
Okay.
Okay.
Accepted. No comment. Okay, can proceed.
So for the next slide will be functional requirements for the profile and login module. So users can log in to the SMK's Lockheed student online portal. Users in this case will be the students and the staff and administrator. So B will be users who are logged in can view and access different functions depending on their authority. So like in this case, the students are only allowed to view like the other modules such as their reports, their FOQ, their attendance and the results.
Mm,
And they can also view the news and events.
mm,
But on the administrator side wise, they can add, remove, and edit. They can do all those to the modules lah,
mm.
if it's the staff administrator. Okay, so C
Okay.
wise, the admin staff of SMK Locu can add new student profiles. So like since this is a new system, right? They can add new students' details lah, their names, their classes, and whatnot. And the administrative staff can also modify the student profile details. So in this case, like maybe the student's name is like misspelled, so they can just edit it again. And for E, they can remove the student entries. So like let's say these Form 1 students, since they just went into the school, and then like after a few weeks they tiba-tiba change to a new school, so they can remove that just in case. And for the last one, they can search
Okay.
and view for specific student entries, like to see is the student still in the system, just in case. They can search by their name.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as for non-functional requirement wise, for the product requirements, the SMK Local Student Portal must authenticate the user and allow access to the system in not more than 10 seconds. So the next one will be the SMK student must allow the users to either use their computer or smartphone to log in and access to the system. So like let's say like the teachers or the students, they can access the portal using their smartphones, which is more convenient lah, like nowadays. Okay, so for organizational requirements, only the SMK Lokyuk students and the students' parents and administrative staff are allowed to log in to the SMK Lokyuk student portal to access the student or staff-related functions. Okay, so for the last one will be external requirements. The Lokyuk student portal must not disclose any private information to the public. So like they are not allowed to show like the students' ID and password for people who are not from Lokyuk lah.
So yeah, I agree. No comment with this profile and login. Okay, so but I want to ask, either like each of the module, all of the presenter did the content by themselves, or all of you discuss together and then come out with this apa?
We initially did it by ourselves, then we discuss to make any changes.
Yeah, we just adjust later. After we each do ourselves, we adjust later.
Oh,
Like some things we don't think correct, we just change some like that.
I mean all the content here, it is from the presenter lah.
Yeah,
I mean-
each presenter do one part and then we all fix together.
Oh, okay, good. So everybody are contributing lah in this in the modules.
Yeah.
Okay, so good. Okay, so proceed to the view.
Okay, so
Yeah.
now
I present the
Okay.
final viewpoint-oriented analysis. Yeah, this is all the viewpoints. The interactor are the students, the parents, and the administrative staff. Because they're all the end users. And then indirect viewpoints are the Ministry of Education and the principal. Because the Ministry of Education can affect by changing the policy of the like rest time or the school ending time, those things. And then the principal.
Okay, so sorry, yeah. So when I see your viewpoints, right? So I'm wondering, so is this student portal no teacher involved?
No,
the teachers
I assume
included in the
all the
administrative stuff.
included into the administrative staff.
Administrative staff.
All the staff lah, the teacher, the principal, maybe the secretary, those things, they're all included in the staff because it will be too long to include so far everything.
Okay, so if like that, don't put administrative staff lah, because administrative staff is usually the people who do the clerk punya task. Okay, so maybe you can put SMK Lokyuk staff.
No,
Oh,
because last time Miss said if you Right, explain all your stuff, and it includes the janitor stores.
Yeah, yeah, that's why. But when you put here administrative staff, then it is only the clerk. Administrative staff is someone that do the documentation. They are not including the lecturer. So if like that, I think you can put
We just
administrative
add one
staff.
more now. We
Oh,
just
so-
add one more
Yes,
for
you
teachers.
add one more, which is teacher. And then
Okay.
later, all of your modules, whichever that including the teacher, then you can put teacher also.
Aha, interchange, right?
Okay.
We just add one more teacher on here,
Yeah, teacher, only teacher lah.
and then we
Because teacher,
change some of them back. some of the older.
all the modules that you said just now, the functional and non-functional requirement, right? For those that including the teacher, just add administrative teacher, administrative staff, and then comma teacher.
Okay.
Or teacher can
Yeah, teacher can.
and slash teacher there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can slash
and
teacher.
Okay. Yeah,
But
and then-
only for the yang you said that there are two administrative staff that is included for some of the function that required double checking tu. Yang itu you should put the upper administrative staff lah, like the head of administrative staff to do the checking. That one is still need to put lah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so can proceed.
Yeah, the indirect viewpoints. Oh, the indirect viewpoints.
Okay.
First one, Ministry of Education can change policies, and then the principal also can make changes to the system also. Maybe suggestion or like changing staff, those things, or changing student ID codes, those. And then the final one is the user interface standards. Can also affect the system for how people use the system. Yeah, all these are viewpoints.
Okay, so I didn't expect our discussion up until 10:14, no? But it's okay. It doesn't mean that I commented a lot for the group one that you did a lot of apa tu false lah. But it is I mean I hope all of the two group after this you can take all my comment from the group one and then improve a little bit your apalah. Okay, so group one, thank you. We can proceed to group two lah.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Miss.
Okay. Okay, so group second is Noel group.
So hello, Miss, and today our group one will be presenting part two for Sutra Harbor employee attendance system. So I hand over to Solomon.
Solomon, who is Solomon?
It's Wong Zisheng.
Oh, Wong Zisheng
Hi, Miss.
Solomon. So I call you Solomon lah because if Wong then Nyap Hong Wong pun Wong juga. So Solomon lah. Okay.
So I will be presenting our project planning schedule.
Okay.
So for our project planning schedule, we are based on waterfall model lah. So the schedule are separated into 5 phases, which are requirement definition, system and software design, implementation and unit testing, integration and system testing, and finally is the operation and maintenance lah, which also took the longest. And this is our Gantt chart schedule. The first phase is requirement definition. It took around 10 days. So 2 weeks. So the first activity is stakeholder meeting, which is done by project manager. For this stakeholder meeting is to familiarize with the stakeholder. And then next is the interview and observation, which will run parallelly by the system analyst. And after these are done, then the kick-off meeting, where the project team will meet with all the stakeholder to discuss about the project constraint and then the deadline, deliverable, milestone, those are. The next phase is system and software design, and it took around 25 days. And it start with system and software analysis. For this, some of the software constraint, so all those design will be allocated to the system architects, UX designer, and the software engineer. Next activity is architecture design, which will be done by system architect. Then is the interface design will be done by UI and UX designer. Finally, the software design will be done by the software engineer. Next phase is implementation and unit testing. And for this phase, only two activity lah, the software implementation, or which is also coding, and unit testing, and both will be done parallelly by the engineer lah. So where writing the code, the software engineer will also write the unit test to make sure the code is stable lah, to integrate together.
Yes, yes.
So the next phase is integration and system testing. The integration, every activity in this phase will be done by the software tester lah. So the first activity is integration testing. Integration testing will test when all the unit combine together and make sure they are stable lah. And next is system testing. All the module are combined together into a whole system and test it as a whole system. So the next is end-to-end testing and user acceptance testing. And these two will be done parallelly also lah. End-to-end testing is done by the software tester. They will simulate the end user activity using tools like Selenium. And user acceptance testing is where the software tester will invite the end user to test the system, and then the software tester will write down any comment by the end user.
Can you please explain again the end-to-end testing?
End-to-end testing is a testing done by the software tester to simulate the end user, the end user activity.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's like so for example, if it's a website, then it is a virtual browser lah, where the browser itself will do all the activities, simulate the end user.
Okay.
So
So
this
they
is,
do the simulation as the end user lah. Okay.
yeah, the code will click all the button by themselves, and then check the output. Yeah, this is good for regression testing lah. The final phase is operation and maintenance. So first is hardware and software installation, which will be done by the system engineer. Then is the data entry, and done by data entry club. After the data entry is done, then we will start the parallel run. Parallel run is where the old system and the new system run together to make sure there is no problem. Is something gone wrong, then there's a fallback to the old system lah. So after 2 weeks of parallel run and everything is stable, then the project will go into maintenance lah. And the maintenance period will be 5 years.
Parallel run. Parallel run is done. We assume that the system is already at the client's site already lah, right? So
Yeah.
the parallel run done by system engineer.
Yeah.
This parallel run is for what? Can you please explain again?
So one of the best example of parallel run is the online attendance of our Thai UC app lah. So when the Thai UC app, the online attendance first roll out in our Sabah branch, while we also using the online attendance to take our attendance, we will also use the manual attendance to sign our attendance. Like both method we run together lah, and until the online attendance is stable, and then we completely switch over to online attendance.
Oh, okay.
I think that is all from me. Next, I will
Okay,
pass to
so
Noel.
during the stakeholder meeting, during the
Yeah.
stakeholder meeting, um, you said that it is to familiarize with all of the stakeholder, right?
Yeah.
So it is including the client, the developer. It is like a kickoff meeting also lah.
For our project, the kickoff meeting is mainly discussed with all the stakeholder about the constraint, milestone, deliverable those for the project start.
So the stakeholder meeting is just to familiarize lah, introduce each other.
Yeah,
It's like,
and also like talk with everyone. Like know every stakeholder, familiarize with every stakeholder needs and their expectation. Because different
okay.
stakeholder, we have different expectation of the project.
Okay. Okay, accepted. Okay, so proceed because usually we only do the kickoff meeting lah. But if you explain it like that, then okay lah, I accept for the stakeholder meeting. Okay, so proceed. So how many resources that you will need for this waterfall model?
I didn't specify.
There's a project manager, analyst, tester, betul. Okay, it's okay lah, just proceed. System requirement.
So I will be presenting system requirement. So the first requirement, functional requirement, is the system shall enable employees to check in and check out by scanning their fingerprint on the biometric reader.
Okay.
So constraint is like if the fingerprint is invalid, it will display a message like invalid fingerprint. Please try again. So other than that, if it's valid, then it will display message such as attendance registration successful.
Noel, your voice is become softer. Okay, now okay.
Should I repeat from the start?
From 1.2 lah.
1.2. So if the fingerprint is valid, it will display a message such as attendance registration successful. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So they just use the fingerprint lah. Kan?
Yeah.
For the okay. So, your function of your system is only to get the attendance lah, right?
Yeah, attendance, and also there's a integrative API lah with other system such as payroll.
Okay. So I remember that during the gunshot just now, I can see there's a data entry activity lah. So that data entry is for what?
And because previously there's a old system, right? The manual system. So all the data from the old system has to be entered into the new system.
Okay. Because I thought that it was the data entry for the staff registrations or staff informations. Yeah. Oh, okay. So we assume that all of the information of the staff is already in the system lah.
Repeat the stuff.
So we can assume that actually all of the staff is already, already registered to the system.
Not necessarily. Like have to, if like new stuff also have to register also into the system. The one done by under the manager. This
Oh,
will be presented
okay.
in the next slide.
Oh, okay, okay. Proceed.
So second is the system shall enable managers to create, read, update, delete employees' details into the system. This is what I talk about. They can
Mm,
add new employees into the system. So the first one is they allow manager to insert employee details. Secondly, if like there's a mistake, they can search, edit, or delete employee details.
mm-hmm.
And uh, so if we want to read the employee's fingerprints, the manager can do so. They can like enable to read the fingerprint from the employee.
Okay.
And lastly, if the employee doesn't work there anymore, so the manager have to change this working status into deactive for specific employee.
Mm, okay.
So the next one, third, is the system shall provide an admin dashboard for managers to check their employees' attendance records. So the first constraint is the system shall display the employees' attendance record in list form in the admin dashboard.
Okay.
So, and next is the system shall provide a filter function in the admin dashboard for the manager to filter the attendance records based on the employee's name, employee ID, and employee employment status. So yeah, or there's a like drop down list lah,
Mm,
the manager can choose from
okay.
or a checkbox. Yeah.
Mm,
So the fourth functional requirement is the system shall enable a manager to apply leave for their employees. Um, so the first constraint is the system shall first display the form for the managers to insert the employee leave details. And second is shall the system shall automatically update the employee's attendance record from absent status to applied leave status after the manager inserts the employee leave details into the system. So basically, first the employee have to like write off a paper form lah to the manager. Then
oh,
the
so
manager,
oh, okay, okay. So the employee will not be able to apply through online lah, still paper lah kan. They need to inform their manager.
yeah,
The
that's
manager that the one who will be key in the details to the system.
that's like a verification process lah.
Okay, okay.
So the fifth function requirement is the system shall enable admin to create, read, update, and delete managers' details in the system. So yeah, the admin has like a upper, like more user access, control access. Okay, the first constraint is the system shall display a form to allow administrator to insert managers' details. And secondly
Yes.
is the same like previously, it shall provide a listing page for the administrator to search, edit, and delete manager details.
Okay. Yes. Correct. No comment.
Okay. So we go to 6 functional requirement. The system shall generate a weekly employee attendance summary report for the manager. So, the first one, in every Saturday, it will automatically generate the employee attendance summary report. And the
At
system shall
what
only
time?
mm,
What time it is available, starting to available? as early
available
as at AM or at the end of the
I think at the end lah, because Saturday is considered work day kan, for in Sutra group. So maybe
Okay.
recommend like evening, 6
Ah,
p.m.
okay lah.
maybe
So you put that there lah, 6 p.m. ke apakah?
6 p.m. Okay. And second constraint is only allow admin and manager to view the weekly employee attendance summary report. Only two of them can view. And third is the system shall highlight the employee attendance records that contain at least 1 day of absence without leave. So if like if the employee absence and then without leave again, it will highlight for the managers. Then the
Highlight.
managers.
What do you mean by highlight? Either you highlight the raw or you highlight by giving notifications to the manager, or how?
I think no notification more appropriate.
Okay, so you should not just use word highlight there lah, because people can interpret it different way lah, right?
Yeah.
So for me, maybe I imagine that in your list of report there will be highlight in the row where the stuff missing without any reason, right? Without on any leave. So, or maybe like you said that maybe the system can give the notification to the manager that highlighting this stuff is absent without leave today. Okay, so which one? So you need to make it clear lah in here later.
If both can come, is notification and row highlight.
Okay.
Can. Okay.
So you need to clear this statement lah later.
Okay.
Okay.
So the last functional requirement is the system shall provide the API for the payroll system to fetch employees' attendance records.
Yes.
So the constraint is the system shall include the employees' work hours, absence without leave records, applied leave records, and employee details when they're responding to the API call from payroll. So API is like a interface for the payroll. Yeah. So like the payroll want to retrieve all these details like work hours, then this payroll system will automatically calculate the weekly payroll salary.
Okay, so good lah. So have you used API previously or developed API?
No.
No. Okay, so is any of you or here have developed API previously?
You mean our group or the whole class?
Yeah, the whole class lah. Have your class have learned about API? Use yes, develop no. Oh, you have used it lah. Oh, I learned myself. Oh, you have used that API previously lah, Russell. How about Noel?
No, just because this idea is originally from Solomon.
Oh, Solomon. Hey,
Yeah.
Solomon? Did you know? How do you know about the API, Solomon?
It's a very common thing.
Oh, very common thing. Okay, so good because actually you understand how to use the API. Okay, so usually when one system want to integrate with another system, for recent system nowadays, they will usually provide API for easy integrations. So whatever information that is required from the System A, they just give the link of API that can be used by the second system, and then that link will provide all the informations that is required lah by the second system. So good lah. Okay, so proceed. Is there
So-
any functional requirement?
Oh yeah, finish with the functional requirement. Now we go to the non-functional requirement. So based on the lecture note, there are 3 types of non-functional requirements, which is
Okay.
product, organizational, and external requirements. So the first is product requirements. So the first product requirements is the system shall enable user to take attendance based on their working shift. And
Okay.
secondly, the system shall enable user to store 2 fingerprint IDs. Both can be used for daily attendance.
Okay.
And third is the system shall enable authorized users to view and update history of attendance details.
Okay.
And next is the organizational requirements. So the first one is the system shall enable outlet managers to register an account and store fingerprint ID before the fingerprint is used for attendance.
Okay.
So in Sutra Harbor, there are many outlets, right? There are many different types of restaurants. So we just call it as outlet. Yeah.
Oh. Oh, okay, okay. So every outlet have its own worker lah.
Yeah. Worker, yeah. So the fifth is
Mm-hmm.
the system shall enable user to view their attendance details if their fingerprint is recognized by the system. But actually, Kanmis, this is not the correct one, not the correct
Which one?
functional requirement. This one. I think I copied the wrong one. Sorry. Actually, it's this one. Sorry. Can I present directly from the word, Kanmis?
Yeah. Can.
Can.
Wait. After this, do you all have class?
2 o'clock. Yeah.
Or 2 o'clock? It is for ourselves. How about the others? Because you are from different class, right? Especially group 3, Daniel. Daniel group? Oh, everyone. Oh, okay lah. So we can I can, you all can lend me a few minutes lah later for group 3. Postpone?
Okay.
No.
Sorry, I repeat again the non-functional. Actually, it's this one.
Okay.
The system shall able with the employee fingerprint and display status message under 5 seconds. So it cannot be take too long to display message. And this next is the system must be available for 24 hours and 7 days a week. So yeah, every day must be available. And that is the system shall have a high usability. For example, the system shall have low learning curve and can be learned easily by the users with minimal computer knowledge.
Okay. Accepted.
And then
Proceed.
next is organizational requirements. So the system shall store its data in the relational database such as MySQL and MSSQL. Yeah, that's
This one, I think you need to make it confirm either MySQL or MSSQL.
confirm means
You
choose
just
either
choose one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So the second one is The system shall be able to operate in Windows operating system, so like Windows 10, Windows 8. And last is external requirements. The system shall protect confidentiality of employee and manager data and not disclose the data to third party that is not associated with the organization. So yeah, the data cannot be exposed to any third party.
Okay,
It's like
so for the functional requirement kan just now, I suggest you all to divide it based on like a module or functions lah, like what group one did just now.
oh, I see.
Yeah. So just don't just put a number there because I don't know number four is for what module unless I read it. Okay, so it is better if you can make it like group one just now lah.
Oh, okay.
Because yeah, because I can see the functional requirement. It is actually can be divided by module. For example, the manager module, the staff module. Okay, so you all think that how to divide it into the module or component lah.
Okay.
Okay, okay, proceed.
So now I hand over to Shakon kan.
Mm.
Okay, so I will present the viewpoint oriented analysis on the interactive viewpoint. So you can see our slide. This is our viewpoint oriented analysis lah. So I will present the interactive viewpoint first. So there are two interactive viewpoint. It will be employee and managers. They will be the one who will direct interact with the system. So the employee operate the system by taking their own attendance. For example, of type of employee is steward, waitress, cashier, chef, bartender, manager, and dishwasher. For the manager, they also take their own attendance, but they can review the data recorded to prevent employee for entering the wrong information or taking attendance for other people.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all for me.
So previously, actually, I want to comment about the employees, but since you already put all of the type of employees here, then okay lah. Okay, so proceed.
So I will be presenting the next part, which is the indirect
Okay.
viewpoint. So for our
Okay.
system, the indirect viewpoints refers to the top management now, because they will not be interacting with the system, but they will somehow have influence on the requirements because they are responsible for controlling and overseeing the entire organization, such as creating rules, standards and strategic objective, as well as giving leadership and guidance for quality management inside the company. I guess that's all from me. So I'll hand over to Nathan to the next viewpoint.
Okay.
So firstly, good morning to Miss, and my name is Nathan. Today I will present my part, that is the domain viewpoint of our assignment. So firstly, what is domain viewpoint? Domain viewpoint is represented as the domain characteristics and the constraint that influence the system requirement. So for example, it can be any policies, external third-party software, or any standard used by the client company. So for our domain viewpoint, we will be using the user interface standard. This is because user interface standard can influence how user, that is the employees and manager using a system. So, so with a simple and understandable user interface, it will help user to clearly understand and navigating through the system, allowing user to take their attendance faster and efficiently, so there won't be a long queue when taking their attendance. So in our new attendance system, we will place a higher focus on the user interface in order to improve the user overall experience. So that's all for me.
Okay, so good. Proceed.
That's all. That's all.
For the group
That's
lah,
the
right?
Yeah, for the group.
that's the end of the
So
presentation.
the presenter is doing what you presented now.
Yeah.
So 3 students doing the Noel doing the non-functional and functional requirement. Or
Actually,
all of
me,
you contribute the idea.
me and Solomon.
Oh, okay. So, okay, so we now proceed to group number 3. Okay, sorry for the group number 3 because you have to wait long. But later for the other student, because your group is, I mean your next class is 2 p.m. Okay, maybe I can borrow about 10 minutes. Okay, so group Daniel, you all can start. I cannot allow the previous student to left early because what? Because group 3 is already waiting for you all. So I want to make it fair for everybody. Okay, so yes, group Daniel.
All right, so good morning to Miss Rani and everyone. So today my group, group 3, will be presenting our assignment for SE, assignment part 2. So today we'll be presenting 3 things. Number 1 is the project planning schedule, which will be the Gantt chart. Second, which is the system requirements, functional and non-functional for each modules that will be integrated into the system. And third one is the viewpoint analysis. So we begin with the first presentation, first content of the presentation. So we begin with the Gantt chart. So from the previous presentation, we have decided that we will be using RAD model. So our Gantt chart will be presented in a RAD model type. So as you can see here, this is just for illustration purposes. Basically, we just focus on here. Later, I will explain like the resources, the days required, and so on. So we just base. So this is just the overview. So, oops, sorry. Can I have a laser pointer? So this is the RAD model of the Gantt chart. So as you can see that here is the entire process, and then it's divided into several sections. So here it will start first, and then it will run through each of the models will run concurrently in parallel. So meaning like we have several modules here with separate processes. So meaning like module 1 will start, and then module 2, 3, 4, 5 will start together. So they will run together, and then once it's finished, then it will be integrated and then deployed, and then it finished. So this is the RAD model. Okay, so for explanation on the tasks, so we have several tasks here. If you see on the slide, there are, this is the tasks. So here, if you see the bolded module functions here, this is the module that I was talking about here, the concurrent functions. So this is each of the modules functions, what they will perform. So we start from the top. So once the project is initiated from the owner, then it will go through a meeting with the project manager to like know things what to get the requirements and all that. So after that, it will go through each module. It will go through requirement gathering, and then the project manager will plan and so on. This part I will update it later. This one is supposed to be approved by the owner to see like, oh, is this okay? Is this proposal like up prepared by the project manager? Is it okay or not? And then after it's okay, then it will start the modeling. So this part I will change later. And then once it has been approved, then it will run through the analysis, design, then start coding and testing. So this testing part will be testing only the unit and functions and the separate modules only. Haven't started integrating, so cannot test the integration. Only later on we will test. So this is just the module. And then after that, after each module has been completed.
Wait, Ian. I think the number 5, system testing, you can rename it to the module testing lah.
Module testing. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me jot down.
Later.
Module. Okay. So after that, after all functions, all modules have been completed, then we will go through the integrations and the entire system testing. So it will integrate all the modules together into a complete system, and then here we will test it. So there are the entire system testing and also the acceptance testing done by the user. So this is the part. After that, all testing has been done. After all testing has been done, then it will go through a deployment phase. So meaning it will be deployed into the Tanaki's engineering company. It will be deployed, and then here it will be changed to like what the group 1 has been discussed just now. So this one will be maintained to like more than 1 year, more than 2 months. Okay, so this one will be changed later. After that, so now technically, once it has been deployed and then it has been stable already, of course, without considering the maintenance and support stuff, after it's been deployed, then it will have a close meeting with the owner and project manager. So this is the entire flow of the our project schedule. Okay. To elaborate more, this is just an overview. So let's say like what are the resources allocated for each of the functions. So let's say like for each of the module, then the project manager will basically overview everything. So you can see every project manager is appearing everywhere. Okay, so so the communication module functions will be allocated with the PM and the owner, and then the planning well also the same thing. And then starting from the modeling, which is the system analysis and design, it will be involving the software developer as well to develop and to analyze and design the system of the systems module that they are assigned to. So we will have like a separate group for each of the modules. So meaning like let's say like there are 5 here, so there are 5 groups here. So each of the software developer from each group of the module will be doing what their own analysis and design on the module. Okay.
But I have questions on the communication, which is requirement gathering. So it is done by project manager and the owner of the Tanaki. All of the all of the requirement gathering is done by the project manager lah.
Yeah.
But I think this one, project manager usually, you can put each of the software developer one of the one representative from each of the module to this communication requirement gathering, because project manager is usually not the one who will collect requirement from the client, but it is from the software development team lah.
Oh, okay. So this one will be software developer. This one Pinda up here. And then and then here should be project manager, and here is the software developer.
Yeah.
Because the approval is approved by the software manager. So
so just add new software developer lah, add software developer on both. Actually, because in the communication, sometimes the software developer still need to consult the project manager lah on whatever problem that arise later. So just add software developer on both communication and system planning.
Oh, okay. Do we need to remove owner since the project is approved by the PM?
Yeah. Owner should not be here lah in the system planning.
So later we change
only during the communications. Yeah.
Okay. So continue. Coding will be done by the developer and overview by the PM lah. Then testing, we will have a software tester for each of the group to test lah. And then if there is any changes or modifications, then the developer can just directly change it and then test it again until it's complete.
Okay, good.
Okay, so after that, we will look at the whole thing. So initiated by the owner and overview by the PM, and then functions we go through just now. This is all the resources allocated. So there are 5 groups. So each group have one developer and one tester. So they will be working in groups. After that, finished, then we go through integrations and testing. So it will involving everyone. Oh, I miss out one. The owner here for the assurance test here.
I think for the module function, you can remove the owner lah, because the owner will not involve in the module
Or
when you are creating the module, because they only will see the end result, which is the system. If it is just a module, they will not involve lah. And then, but about the module integration and the system, owner also, unless they are, but they are involved in the system testing lah, the owner. So
the
on the module,
assurance, the last one before deploying.
yeah. So ngam lah, for the module integration and system, you can put owner, but for the module function, remove the owner.
Just pin that down here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then after that, then the remaining ones are the deployment and maintenance. This one will be changed, but then basically it will be involving the software developer and the owner to integrate it. PM is also just there to overview, and then there will be a closing meeting after deployment. Then these two will be involved in the closing meeting and the system feedback meeting. After that, you go through maintenance phase, which will be changed later on.
The system support lah, right?
Yeah, maintenance is support like that. Okay, after that, another overview. So this one, the communication, 5 days, planning 5 days, modeling 5 days, coding and testing will be 15 days. So total here will be 30 days. To have an overview, like 30 days here, then integrated will be using 10 days, deployment 10 days, without considering the maintenance stuff. So for now, it's just a deployment is 10 days. And then closing meeting 0. So we predict we will need about 50 days for the entire development of the system.
Okay.
For the resource allocation, so this is the rate. So project manager, we have a 30 ringgit rate per hour, while this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 software developers that I was talking about at the group there. So like as you say, one is with group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, group 5 for each of the module. Everyone will get 20 ringgit rate per hour for each of the software developer, and 20 ringgit for each of the software tester. The owner, we will not give them any money because it's our client stakeholder, so it's 0 here. So
they are the one who give you the money.
Yeah. So this is the entire resource cost calculated by auto-generated by the Microsoft project when we did the Gantt chart. So this is the entire cost.
Okay.
So that is all for the Gantt chart. So now we'll be moving to system requirements. We have 5 modules, as explained by just now. We have 5 groups. So each group we will have one. Group 1 will take customer. Group 2 we get inventory module, like that. So every member of our group will be presenting our own module assigned. So I will pass this to Celine for customer module.
Okay.
So for customer module, the functional requirements, for the first one, user can add new customer by entering customer information such as the customer's name, contact numbers, and their email address. Second, user can update the customer's detail if there is any mistake or customer has changed their details such as their contact number. The third one is user can view the list of customers and the customer's detail. Then user can search for specific customers through the customer details such as customer ID and customer name.
Okay.
Then a user can delete the customer and customer detail from the system's database.
Okay, so who is actually the user?
The user is both the owner and the staff of Tanaki Engineering.
Oh, so whoever the owner also can do, and then the staff also lah.
Yeah.
Whoever, I mean, as long as they are the staff of the Tanaki Engineering, then they can add new customer lah.
Yeah.
Can use this function. Okay.
Next is the non-functional requirement. So there are three types of requirement. For the product requirement, the function of the customer module such as edit, update, search and delete must not take more than 2 seconds to complete without failure.
Mm.
Then generating report must not take more than 10 seconds to be completed and displayed to the user.
Okay.
For the organization requirement, the functions of customer module and generating report must be available between the usual working time of Tanaki Engineering, which is Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay, so good. Yeah.
For the external requirement, the system security must not disclose any personal information of customer to outside parties, like only allow authorized users such as the owner and staff, and operate according to the legal jurisdiction and regulations.
Okay. So the only comment just now is the user lah. You need to really specify the user, because if you just say the users, I don't know either even the customer themselves can put in their informations or not. Okay, so you just Tanaki staff lah, Tanaki staff or Tanaki clerk. Okay.
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 Next, I
So
will pass to.
Okay, I will be presenting for the inventory module.
Mhm.
Okay, as you can see, this is the functional requirements. The users, I just changed it specifically just now, so I have some changes there lah. Okay, so the first part is only the owner can add new products into the system lah. And then the second, both users, both owners and employees can edit the product records. And maybe let's say you want to update, then both of them then can do it. Third one, both users can view inventory details with features such as criteria searching and sorting lah. Number four, only the owner can delete inventory and product records. Meaning, if you let employees just delete, then delete already lor. So only the owner can do the delete lah. And then for the last one, only the owner can generate inventory reports that are scheduled or like on request for their maybe let's say their meeting or like weekly reports like that. So the owners can use it lah. For the non-functional requirements, we have several non-functional requirements for inventory module. So number one is a product. Any functions will you should not take more than 2 seconds to complete. So let's say if you want to add gun, it should directly can be added into the system without any much delay. Generating reports is also the same. You don't want to let the owner to like wait there for like a minute to wait for the report, so you have to be fast lah. So that's the product requirements. The other non-functional is the organization requirements, meaning like the functions of the inventory module, and every report is following the company's policies and any procedures of their business functions following the company and that. The third one is the external requirements. So this one, the system must following the countries or the government's legal jurisdictions and regulations to have to follow the law and stuff so that they won't kena. Yeah, kena. Okay, yeah, that's all for the inventory module.
Kena penalty.
Yeah.
For example, apa tu, especially from the Jabatan Kerja and Buruh itulah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so proceed.
Test. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes. And?
Okay. I will be present the supply model. The supply model is for owner and the employee for access the supply record. So the function is for them to add the new supplier, such as a name of supplier, what product they will supply, and what email the way for contact the supplier. And then the another one is update the supplier details. If there is any change for the supplier, such as the supplier have new product or they didn't sell any product, they can update the product details. And then after that is delete the supplier. If they didn't want to purchase any supply from the suppliers or the suppliers stop their business, they can delete the supplier from the system. And then another one is just the supplier, they can, like different with legacy system, they need to go through the page one by one. They can directly type the supplier name to system and then directly go to the supplier details. And then now is the supplier okay, it's the non-functional requirement. The product requirement will be when they do some update, like adding the supplier, it should not more than 5 seconds. And then when search the supplier, it should also not more than 5 seconds. For the organization requirement, the supplier supply system, the supplier in the system, supply model in the system should be always work for their business hours, which is 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. from Monday to Saturday. And then the external requirement is the system should not leak any supplier info to others party, but also the system should run according the law of that place and then any regulation. Okay.
So yeah. So no questions from me. I think all ngam. Okay, so payment.
Okay, I will present for the payment. For the function, so for the functionality, for user lah, which is like Ian said that for owner and employee, they can add payment method, add payment method, which is they can add, which is giving the option for the customer or supplier to have a payment method to paying to them, or the customer can pay to the Tanaki engineering, like PayPal, credit card, debit card, or cash. As well, they can add new record payment for customer and supplier. But number 2 is the edit the customer, which is user and employee can do that. They can edit the customer and supplier payment detail. If any mistake happen lah, like name error or price payment, that they all sudden macam like they already pay macam 3,000, all of a sudden they record 4,000, salah sudah lo, tukar lo. The number three, they can view the customer and supplier payment details history, which is they can without causing any mistake lah, like the legacy issue. Number 4 is like not remove unnecessary payment, or like history, like all customer, all supplier, where for example like customer that they have like loyal customer that they think that they think that they need to remove salah cakap lah. I mean for the remove section, which is the the employee and the owner, they can remove all receipt of customer, like for example, like customer they already think for the customer, the owner and the employee doesn't think that, or you can say that very unnecessary lah, to save a large amount that receipt that they already pay that for like macam like dated from 1999 until 2000 macam tak payah sudah, like which is they already or mistake lah that had been made from the employee itself lah. Just like all of a sudden macam edit, all of a sudden mistake happen, have to remove, have been removed like I think that's all lah. Number 5 is like generate, schedule, and on-press payment report. Yeah, they can generate within it for the system. Okay lah. For the non-functional requirement, perform every following module, every following function, should not take more than 2 seconds to complete, and generate report should not take 10 seconds to complete. For the number 2 is organization requirement. Same as Ian, should be compiled. Those system and those system function should be complied with Tanaki engineering policy and procedure and work. And for organizational requirement to be applied according to Malaysia legal and regulation. That's all.
Okay, so my only comment is just explain what who is the user lah. Okay, like what Ian said just now, the employee and the owner. And then in your report letter, just explain like whatever you explained just now. For example, the payment method, you said may use PayPal, may use the credit card. So in your explanation letter, in your report, must specify the payment method lah clearly. Okay. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so can proceed.
So similarly to the other modules, the users are mainly the owner and the staff members of Tanaki engineering system only.
Okay.
So for the functional requirements, the users, which are the owners and staff members, can add new reservation records into the system's database when there are new reservations such as reservation name, customer name, date, and type of service. Besides that, users can amend or update the reservation details such as date and type of service when needed. The users can also view all the reservation records and their details which are stored in the database that includes existing reservation information and those that are recently updated into the database of the system. Lastly, users can delete any reservation record if necessary, such as in situations where a customer cancels their reservation.
Okay. So my question is, what is the example of type of service?
Type of service is like if they want to change oil or change a specific like if you want to change the oil of the car or repair the
or
car
just
or
do
something.
service lah.
Yeah, that type of service. Whereas for non-functional requirements, there are 3 which are product requirements. I mean, I'll start with product requirements first. For the product requirements, updating any reservation information shall not take more than 2 seconds to be updated in the database of the system with a stable internet connection. All error messages that are triggered by users shall not take more than 2 seconds to appear with a stable internet connection.
Okay.
Next, for organizational requirements, the functions of the reservation module must be always available within the working hours of Tanaki Engineering, which is from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on every Monday to Saturday. Basically, the requirements are similar to the other modules. Lastly, for external requirements, the system must not disclose any information to other parties and must comply with the legal requirements and regulations of the law, which is available in Malaysia.
Okay, so my only comment is just to give example of what type of service that here the type of service. For example, okay, so just put type of service letter and the users lah, the users. Okay, so proceed.
For the number 3, for the third part, viewpoint analysis, I will present. This is our viewpoint hierarchy lah. For interactor, which is will be used by will be used the system will be employee and owner. Yes, yeah lah. Edit all they will use all they will response all everything all the function and non-functions within the system. Indirect VP. We focus and we only give to customer and supplier.
Okay, yes.
For the domain, we're only focusing user interface standard and classification standard, which is a classifier standard, which is only personal Tanaki engineering database lah. Personal stuff information that they will contain for including employee, owner, customer, and supplier. And that's all.
Okay, so my comment is like all of my comment previously for the employees letter, you also need to explain lah what is the employees letter during the explanations lah, because like I said, even the cleaner also is an employee of Tanaki also, right? Okay, so is there any cleaner in Tanaki? So I think usually yes, every organization usually will have their own cleaner. So in your explanation letter, just put that is the employees. Okay, so and then the classification standard. Can you please explain again what is the
I
classification
clarify
standard?
for both indirect and domains. So for the indirect, these two are not the users that will be using using directly the system, but they are affected. So for example, if the system performs the functions smoothly, then of course their feedback will be good lah. It will not affect the business. But if the system has, like, let's say, very long response time, and maybe like here and there's some errors in the data, then of course it will affect their maybe let's say trust or maybe satisfaction, or like do they trust when they are doing business with the Tanaki engineering? So they will be affected as well. So they are the indirect VPs. For the domain VPs, user interface is the UI. So meaning when we design the interface for the system, it has to be following some of the following the UI standards or any of the human computer interaction features. So you have to follow all that to design a good system, a good interface system. Another one is the classification. This one is mainly more on the classifications on both companies' rules and regulations, and as well as the jurisdictions and legal laws like that we mentioned in our. So this is just the more to laws and rules like that. So this is a domain domain.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to add more on the indirect VP lah. They are also, I mean, in the direct VP, in the indirect VP, they are not only impacted, but they also influence the system. Okay, for example, maybe if the user or the supplier change their location or move to another office, then you still need to do something to your system, right? So that influence. Okay, so that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Yes, so thank you everyone. So actually, I really didn't expect that each of the group will take longer than 30 minutes. So, yeah, my expectation is tapao. Miss, I have a question. Yes, Russell?
Okay. Just now you said that the system support can be 2 years, right? Is it okay to include only like one developer for the support?
Pardon?
To include one developer.
One developer
for the system support.
You mean you want to assign one developer to the maintenance?
Under system maintenance, there's the deployment and then the support, right? And then for deployment, all the developers are involved.
Pardon, on under development?
For the deployment, all the developers are involved.
There's a term for it actually, a maintainer.
I mean the deployment.
Yeah. Under the deployment, you should assign, all of you lah. Sorry, because I forgot to mention about that previously. Maybe so. During the human resource, you can put maintainer under the maintenance punya activity lah.
No, not
one
my.
more here lah.
Pardon? Usually that's why lah, because the maintainer, it may come from the software developer, but you can also hire the new maintainer for it. So actually, if you assume that your maintainer is from your software developer, then no need to add the cost here for new software maintainer lah, because it is already in the software developer punya cost. But if you assume that you are hiring new maintainer for that period, for the 2 years, then you need to add new cost here lah for the maintainer.
Okay, so now the system maintenance, right? And within system maintenance, there's deployment and then support. Deployment for 1 week and then support for 2 years.
Yes.
So for system support, how many developers are involved? Do I need?
Actually, that is like when you are in the real world, it is depending on your company decisions lah. But usually, what we did last time, whenever there are any problem or complaint for that system during the maintenance period, the system support or there's one staff that will be allocated to receive the complaint or any changes to that system, and then that staff will coordinate, meaning if that system is that error or changes related to function or module A, then he will give back to the developer of the module A, okay, to fix it. So maybe like I said just now, if your assumptions is you are hiring new maintainer, and then you are hiring new maintainer for each of the module, then the number of the maintainer will be based on your module number of your module lah. And then if you are assuming that your maintainer is actually your software developer, then you can assume that your software developer, the number of your software developer that is developing each of the module is the number of the software maintainer lah.
Can I use the developer as the maintainer?
Yes, like I said just now.
So like you say in my Russ.
So not if I do like that, the total cost, because it factors in that the project manager is involved for another 2 years. Is 700K.
Yeah, but
if we put outside here, after the Tanaki engineering system is overviewing everything, man. So if we put outside here like system support and maintenance like that, is it okay? Since it so now
support.
So meaning like number one is Tanaki engineering, which is everything. Project manager is counted in everything, man. So if we move outside, like let's say 72, the outer one, then it will only calculate, like let's say my system is deployed by 2 software developers, so I only use that tool. Can it be done like that?
Yes, can. Meaning you calculated the maintenance period only, or so the software support only, lump sum, right? Lump sum for the 2 years. Yes, can.
Is the project manager involved in support? The maintenance.
Because the project manager is the one who will the one that will consult if any problem arise. So yes. But the one who do the maintenance is usually, of course, lah, the maintainer lah, or the software developer. But if there are any problem arise, maybe there are new requests, new requirement during the maintenance phase, then you still need to consult the project manager, because the project manager is the one who decide either to proceed or not with the new request. Yes, still.
Doesn't that mean that the project manager is still involved for another 2 years?
Yeah.
So he still gets an hourly pay.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
lump sum lah. You can calculate lump sum ka or by hour ka. Actually, later you all, all the costs will be decided by the company. So the company will decide that either to pay the project manager lump sum or by hour. So for now, it is you are assuming
By
that you
hour.
are the owner. Yeah. So
By
it is
hour.
based on you lah. So if you decided to buy hour, then you can put by hour lah. If you want to
700K.
put lump sum.
So we just put underneath the closing meeting, I mean the system feedback for the maintenance and support lah.
Not under system feedback lah. You said
Yeah,
I think
not
it is
under lah.
better if it is outside. It is,
I mean like underneath
same
here lah.
level with
Yeah.
the Timetable engineering.
Oh.
Yes.
Wait, for what?
For inside? I mean like same baris like this.
No, I think it is. It should be the same baris with the Tanaki engineering.
Oh.
Tanaki engineering what? Tanaki engineering project kato. I cannot see it clearly.
Can I do like another indentation? So meaning like Tanaki engineering everything. So this part is the system development phases, and then I have another one here is the maintenance like that.
Yes, can.
Oh, okay. But then if we still calculate the project manager.
Itulah. That's the problem. So if you want to make it, So if you want to make it a lump sum and not hourly, then you should make it another node different from the Tanaki lah. Different, meaning the same level with the Tanaki, because you want to make it, you want it to be calculated different from the project development lah. I mean this project, right? If you want to make the project manager to give lump sum, or it has another cost. It is not in the cost of the software development tu lah. Okay, understand ka?
Then I miss for a total of
your total is too much ka?
No, wait, hold on. 560 days. About 1.5 years or 560 days is 700K.
That's why actually, because previously when what we didn't do small system like this lah. The previous one we did for the project cost like 7 million. So that's why I am also not really sure the cost for the student portal. Okay, so for the small system tu lah, because usually this is memang cost few lah. So maybe you can reduce the hourly pay.
So I'm using the average pay.
Oh, you are using the average pay. So yeah, I think the cost here is not because we are not really building for them lah, right? As long as you know how to get all of this figure, and then you said that this is memang the standard pay, so I am following the standard pay. Okay, so yes lah, it doesn't matter how much it costs later.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So tutup satu mata, buka satu mata.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You really need to buka mata when you are developing the real system letter.
Okay. So only this part
Only
lah.
for this first lah. Yeah.
Only the maintenance part yang need to do some shifting. Okay lah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because later when you are using or when you are developing the system, you already have the budget. Okay, so you need to assign all of your resources based on your constraint of your budget. Because yeah, well, like I said just now, before you receiving the project, you already know your client budget. Okay, so later when you do the costing, you need to adjust your your cost based on the budget from the client. But now we don't have any budget, right? So we use whatever resources that we have. Like you said just now, you are using the following standard pay rate. Okay, so it is still accepted lah. But during the real job letter, you need to adjust your cost based on the client budget. Okay, so any more questions? Later after this, I will return all of your tests and then you all can see lah. And then you can please help me to recalculate. Maybe I have calculated it wrong. So if there's any calculation error, you can ask me to adjust lah. Yes, no one is fail lah. A lot that get A lah. A lot of students get A, and then no one fails. Okay lah. So I think okay lah. And then if you have any questions about why you didn't get full mark, you also can ask me lah. Okay, so if you don't have any question, then we can dismiss now because we already passed 33. Okay. Sorry everyone for that apa. Because when I comment, right, I really picturing you are doing your real project. So I am commenting because I want you all really consider and then experiencing the real world lah. What usually need to be corrected when you are experiencing or developing new system. So that's why I am commenting it in details. Okay, so bye all. Thank you for your time. Sorry